Okay, wait, this is the other track, isn't it? I'm not gonna play it right now, but when I hear that one bit, wait, actually it comes up here, doesn't it? Actually, I forget how the key goes. Something like that. The thing with F minor is it's got a lot of flats or sharps in it. I'm not sure which. Probably flats. Like there's one missing and that's it. I put on my shoes, tapped my toes against the wall a few times, then left, and Mion typically came over. That would be around about the 2 section of the keyboard there. Why is she turning all red at a time like this? Can I hold your arm? It was such a modest request. I don't mind. With my permission, her face lit up with glee like a child being given a toy and took my arm. Remember when this was, you know, like a serious big reveal and how it's kind of, I don't know, maybe this was what you'd expect from, like, after the reveal, like, something like this to play out. But the way it's playing out is totally not how I would have envisioned it. Do you get kind of nervous with your arm to mine? Now thinking, for example, that I'd suddenly put you in a world-class joint lock or something, anything. You two say the same things. I don't think that at all. Back when nothing had gone wrong yet. During those nostalgic days of the bustling commotion at Inglemoor, I counted back and was amazed. It had only been 1 week ago. I'd been arm in arm with Shion then too. Linking arms with Mion like this really reminded me that they were twins. How much strength they put into it. Sensation of their arms, their warmth and the blood flowing. I could feel that their living sensations were all exactly the same. I think Shion liked you, Keiichi. I see. If this were a regular conversation, I might have jumped back red in the face. Right now, though, no matter what I heard, my mind remained at peace. At peace, my ass! Mion and Shion, you got along well, didn't you? Well, I wonder. Keiichi, do you think your right hand and left hand get along? Huh? My right hand and left hand? I don't think you could describe them as getting along or not. That's how a relationship is. You can't measure it by the scale of how well we get along. That didn't sound like it meant they got along really well. For example, one of your hands is dominant, so there will always be a better hand. If you only had one oven mitt, you would put it on your dominant hand without thinking, right? I think maybe it was like that for us. You know, the odd thing, I've said this before, but I play guitar left-handed, but I'm actually right-handed. I mean, how weird is that? And as I've said a number of times, because I got a missing finger on my left hand, and one of my fingers on my left hand is permanently bent forward, making it, ow, my fucking hand! Essentially making the finger in question that I just mentioned pretty much useless when it comes to fretting the, you know, fretboard with a guitar. But on the plus side, it's like easy to get into picking position, so like playing left-handed, it's perfect as a result for me. And pretty much the only way I could play guitar, I mean, I could probably figure out a way to play right-handed, but it'd be very limiting. Like, I'd probably only be able to like use 1 or 2 fingers at most. Kind of same with like, turn it off. Like just doing that with my left hand, it's a pain in the ass. I usually just like use 2 fingers and the thumb. I leave out my first finger because that's the one that's bent forward. I'd only use it if I really need to, so it makes arpeggios. You know those annoying arpeggian pianos, like where it's like freaking difficult as all hell, and it already is difficult. But imagine playing that with like just 2 fingers and a thumb, and 1 finger that's not really good at that, and I only use usually the chords. Anyways, I'm rambling again. That doesn't mean though that anyone would be okay with losing their left hand. It's that kind of unexplainable relationship. I think that maybe you live too close together and just stop being able to see it, but I think that means you get along really well. I'm an only child, so the day before the festival, I was real jealous of you when you and Shion were messing around with each other. I think it's jealous of something that doesn't exist. Because we twins used to have a lot of fun playing tricks on people. Now that we have such distinctly different personalities, it just gets in the way. Were they cursed or were they self-conscious? Their relationship was hard to understand for an outsider. Maybe that wasn't an issue someone like me should intrude on. Just staying silent and nodding gently was the best way to advance the conversation. Mion passed through the wide yard and invited me into the big, desolate forest we'd seen on the way home. Such a big forest was part of their property, so I couldn't help but feel small. It's huge. You must have had a great time playing in it as kids, huh? Mion seemed to be silently reminiscing. I couldn't look into her mind, but she was probably thinking back to those fun days when they played the sisters Laudeni and Benjamin. Every time the wind blew, it caressed the treetops and the leaves, making a swishing, murmuring sound. Mion remained silent for a long time, thinking back on her younger sister whom she had gotten rid of with her own hands. There was no need for me to get a word in. Just walking like this, arm in arm, was enough. Mion suddenly stopped and turned. Shion is still alive. Really? Mion took a hard look into my eyes and nodded quietly. Yeah. I'd been thinking to give her the most horrible death of all, so I had her locked up. I never did think of a good way to do it, though. It sounded as though she hated Shion, but also, deep down, she didn't completely detest her. So I took my other hand and ruffled Mion's hair with it. Mion didn't only save me, she saved Shion too. Mion may have become a demon and led many people to their deaths, but she fought against it and was able to save 2 people. As I petted Mion, she narrowed her eyes in an entranced smile, and untangled her arm from mine. Then Mion quietly said, "Come with me. I want you to see all of my sins. Although, Kei-chan, it might be the worst thing you've ever seen." I could sense it. There I would probably find all the sacrifices up until now. Looking at them would mean accepting Rika-chan as the Toko's death, as well as accepting that my best friend had done it. It's even worse, because every question arc has an answer arc, but this one is the only one that has an answer arc that goes through the story of the question arc without altering in, being a different scenario but being similar. I don't know how to describe it, but man, Watanagashi is going to be hell when it gets into its darker section. It's already happened and it's in the past. You can choose not to look, Kei-chan. If you don't want to, then wait here. I will personally end everything. I was taken aback by how ominous that sounded. I remembered what Renner had told me. Mion might not surrender herself to justice. instead choose to put an end to things herself. I couldn't leave her on her own. Besides, I agreed to her last request, didn't I? Even if it was hard for me to accept, I'll still do it. Even if I avoided looking, it was something that had already happened. It doesn't matter what I see. Yes, Sonozaki is the best friend I could ever have. That won't change. Never will. The treetops softly swayed in the wind. You and Ren are both. Why do you only get really cool at times like this? Normally I'd say something rude back at her, evading the question, but today I didn't. I just answered with a smile. At last Mion started walking. It's just like, what's the word to describe it? It's like the mood and the conversations just don't fit together, do they? At last Mion started walking into the thick forest, into the deepest thoughts. After following a thin path that looked like an animal trail for a while, they finally came across a steep incline with a tunnel that reminded me of a coal mine or a bomb shelter. We were surrounded by shallow hills. It had been created in a spot not visible from the outside. There were many silhouettes of crows in the trees here and there. The abnormal odor I'd been smelling for a while was doubtlessly escaping from inside its place. Oh man, I told you this is worse than Keiichi in terms of, oh my god, that's fucked up. If you want to turn back, now's your chance. I don't know what kind of person Mion Sonozaki is to you, but if you go inside, that Mion will probably... She won't change. I'll say it as many times as I need to. Mion Sonozaki is the best friend I could ever have. Clench my fist. Inside there was probably a sight beyond anything I could imagine. If I let my guard down, I might end up vomiting. Well, considering, like, Mion could still, be all like, I'm not finished with this yet. That wouldn't be the only thing you need to worry about, Keiichi. But of course, he's not even thinking of that. Even so, I'll endure it. I'll overcome this pain and this suffering. In fact, he probably wants that to happen because, he blamed himself for it all. It will never change that Mion is my greatest friend. I'm nothing more than a demon, so I don't understand human feelings anymore. I have a feeling, though, that I know why Mion fell in love with you. Don't say out like it's not related to you. You're Mion. You're not a demon. You're a human with human blood, and you're my friend. Mion made a gesture like she was wiping tears from her eyes, and placed a hand on the big door of the tunnel entrance. Then, the lock on it was dauntily strong-looking. It seemed to demand the appropriate resolution from whoever would enter, just like the ritual storehouse. When the double doors opened, stifling rotten air and a bunch of winged insects came rushing out. I remembered accidentally killing a hermit crab a long time ago by leaving its tank out on the porch. How intense the odor it was. So that was the smell of a corpse, then that's certainly what that smelled like. Inside it was pitch black, but Mion flicked a switch that turned on a light bulb, illuminating the interior. Don't worry though, we probably won't see anything appear on screen for all this, but, just the implications and probably the detail they're going to do in the writing, it's probably going to be like, oh god! The anime is worse, of course, because it actually shows this type of shit. And it's fucked, man. It's fucked to the fucked. The path turned into a series of intricate wooden tunnels. I mean, if this was it's classified as a sound novel, but I don't know what's the difference between a sound novel and a visual novel. But one of the things I can see being different is, aside from, the fact the text comes down like this, the other observation I have is that it doesn't have CG. Those CGs you get with characters and all that, sometimes even backgrounds. If this was more of a traditional visual novel, it would show that shit. And one visual novel that I've pointed out in comparison to this a few times is Kara no Shoujo and Kara no Shoujo 2 and Katagura as well. It's just like, when it comes to like that, they've got some messed up shit in there as well. It's like death and all that. And they actually have CGs with those as well, and it's just like, oh, Jesus Christ! They put out species that look like they were for storage, but we won't see any of that in this factory. So we past place that looked like someone had lived there. Shouldn't it be we pass a place that looked like someone had lived there, or we pass a... I don't even know how else to word that. That doesn't sound like a word correctly. Was indication that it had been used as a bomb shelter and stockpile during the war. It didn't give an impression of a dugout bomb shelter that had just been left there, though. There was a sense of dignity, as though this were a second Sonozaki house constructed underground. Despite being in pitch darkness below the ground, the voices of the cicadas were entering through an air hole somewhere, giving it a very mysterious feel. You saw what was in the ritual storehouse, right? The piles of torture instruments. All of them were created to uphold the strict religious laws of Watanagashi village. They were tools used to kill those who broke the laws in terrible ways as a warning to others. Sounds no different than middle-aged Europe, that, isn't it? Where it's just like, oh, it was all the rage back then. It's like, you heathens! We're going to freaking have you hanged! We're gonna burn you! We're gonna fucking out your entrails! Although I'm not sure if they do it simply as like, you're a blasphemer and go to that far. But they certainly freaking did. Well, there were a lot of people killed because of stuff like that. It just boggles the mind. That was a long time ago. Watanagashi, originally a ritual menace deterrent, was once overseen by the Fruit family. Thanks to the Keiichi and Fruit family's journey to decline and the way their times changed, actually carrying it out became difficult. I can imagine why. You never think people could be okay with drowning people in a swamp and killing them in modern Japan. That's why the Sonozaki family built this, a secret place so that we could continue to conduct the rite of Watanagashi, even in modern times. How twisted is that? Mion opened a large, strikingly different door, and inside, oh God, what was inside was none other than a modern storehouse for ritual implements. There's quite a few, isn't there? Some of them were actually brought here from the original storehouse. All of the things that had been rusty and covered in dust, so they didn't seem that real. But the things in here were different. Every one of them had been well maintained and kept in a state that they could be used right away. Blades gleamed and spikes were sharpened. Also, perhaps as a precaution for the splatter of blood, the walls and ceiling were covered in the kind of tiling you would see in bathrooms, and there was even a drain set amidst a slight slope behind the floor. There was also a coiled rubber hose along the wall attached to a faucet, perhaps for cleaning up the splattered blood. According to something a leader from a long time ago wrote, blood splatter has impact despite the fact that it doesn't tax the sacrifice. Watanagashi was meant as a deterrent after all. My ancestors fought up all different kinds of ways to show off. It just makes me wonder what the fuck with people like that. It's like, they'd like make a comparison with medieval freaking middle-aged Europe. And even before that, it's just, well, even in modern times, think about it, man. It's been happening for as long as there's been violence in humanity, which is probably from the get-go, more or less. It's like, oh, we use a stick as a weapon, and now we've got freaking all kinds of crazy shit. Guns, we're like, oh, swords are so outdated. Just sound like a freaking machine gun, a Gatling gun, and then, oh, why not? Let's freaking work with this nuclear shit and freaking make this. It's like, Jesus Christ. Is it like, why the hell, man? Just why? Why? But that isn't even including the torture shit, is it? As she said that, Mion pointed deeper into the torture room to a spot veiled in darkness. There was surprisingly a room floored with tatami mats, and in the corner was a pile of cushions. There's seats for the audience. Watanagashi was meant as an errand after all. It wouldn't make sense if there were no guests. How morbid. I couldn't speak and I couldn't think of anything to say anyway. Except that if Mion revealing all this to me made her heart feel any lighter, then I was prepared to listen for as long as I needed to. Right here is where I killed everyone. There were no spectators to watch me, but I did the Watanagashi very well. Well, perhaps there was one spectator. Huh? A spectator? Me. I, the demon, was watching the entire time Mion held the Watanagashi ceremony. Mion cackled in self-deprecation. It wasn't a nice sounding laugh. Back there's the prisoner. Is Shion there? She nodded slightly. Mion's Watanagashi had ended today. I needed to tell Shion that I was safe without a moment's delay. After all, she was probably trembling in fear at this very moment, worrying about when she would be killed. Your ostentatious door was outsprouts on the other side, opened, revealing what must have been an incredibly expensive space busted on the echo it made. You know what? Past, well, I've only read maybe 2 or 3 of them, but I read H.P. Lovecraft's, some of his short stories, 3 of them. Well, I'm partway through one. I've read 2, and it's just, he loves to freaking use adjectives and freaking words you don't see often. What is up with writers and that? It's just God damn it, stop being so pompous with this. It's I will use words that are no longer used very much, and people will have to get a dictionary and a thesaurus, and even then they won't know how to pronounce it. That's the true horror. No, not this Eldritch abomination shit, and that's one as well, isn't it? Eldritch, he freaking uses that word a lot. One of them was pretty decent, but my god, it's just it sounds like in his story, it just felt like it's just a long, never-ending description, where it's just get to the point already. There's barely any dialogue within this story that I've read. I was about to say wrote, it's I didn't write that shit. I like this one about, I forget what it's called. This one with, the music of someone, I forget. But that one was kind of interesting. And there was another one with, I think he might have been Native American. Or something like that, I can't remember. One thing I also learned about H.P. Lovecraft is that he was very, very much a xenophobe and a racist. So just with that in mind, reading the stories is just kind of so is this his interpretation of other cultures? If so, what the fuck? But anyways, we go on to our own what the fuck in this scene. Mion groped around in the darkness and a handful of naked light bulbs came on here and there. As my eyes adjusted, more and more of the great cave showed itself in the faint light. The walls were bare rock surface, and it felt so savage that bomb shelter was the most apt term for it. There were small barred rooms built here and there, like holes made by insects biting their way through a giant piece of fruit. It was immediately clear that each one of them was a prison. Where is everyone? Riki-chan and Satoko. They're corpses. I grimaced at her, having said it so outright. Yeah, that's right. Wait. Oh, so it is him saying that. Poor things being left here in the dark like this. I didn't want them to get infested with bugs, so I threw them down the well. Sorry. I have no words for that. And evidently neither does Keiichi. So I can't even see their faces in death. Once again, my feelings of regret at having confessed everything to Riki-chan came surging forth. If Mion hadn't attached the word sorry at the end of what she said, I I'd have punched her. Calm down, Keiichi, my bar. You said it yourself, no matter what. Sonozaki is our greatest friend. Yeah, my greatest friend. I had to hear myself say it out loud. Then came the clattering of bars in one of the cells deeper in. When I noticed it, I looked up as well. Shion! Is that Shion? Kei-chan! Is that you, Kei-chan? I ran over to the cell. White hands were peeking out through the gaps in the bars. It really was her. Are you alright, Shion? Are you hurt? No! Shion's face twisted out of shape as she screamed. It was because Mion had appeared right behind me. Of course, Shion didn't know that everything was over yet. Calm down, Shion. Everything's already over. Everything. I spoke in as calm a voice as I could manage to try and soothe the agitated Shion. However, it didn't seem like it was getting through her screams. Shion, how have you been? Well, please. Omo! I don't want to see anyone else die. If you hate me, then just kill me already. I'm the one you hate, right? Kill me right now. That was going alright until that last line, my voice said. Anyway, calm down, Shion. It's all over now. It's going to be alright. So calm down. Shion, who was screaming and rattling the iron bars back and forth, was truly in a frantic state. Perfectly understandable. We don't even see her portrait because I can't remember how she's portrayed in the anime. She is wearing clothes, but she's more or less like treated like an animal, I suppose, in this whole situation, which, you know, to add to the fucked upness of it, I guess. I gave a slight shrug of resignation, giving way to Mion. I'd realized that if Mion was the one who locked her in here, and if Mion was the one who had scared Shion this much, then Mion was also the only one who could put an end to this. Mion spoke from over my shoulder, quietly. Relax. I won't kill you. No, I won't kill you just yet. She burst out into a bizarre laugh, as if trying to make Shion's madness even worse. It was very quiet on my part. It was just like... Shion broke out into a fierce shiver, rolled on my leather, and rattled the iron balls as she wailed. Keiichi, you're a fucking idiot. Please stop. Don't kill Kei-chan. Kei-chan has nothing to do with this, does he? If you're going to kill someone, then kill me right now. I don't want anyone else to die. If you want to die so badly, then after I've killed this man, I'll take my time making mincemeat out of you. In accordance with the ancient rites, I'll do it slowly, starting with your extremities. I'll shave you down and mince you. I had that mincing machine set up specifically for you, after all. Oh, would it be funnier if we were to mince up Kei-chan in front of you? You speak now. Hey, quit it already. What do you have to gain by scaring her at this point? Oh, Kei-chan, run away! I tried to revoke Mion for flinging terrible words at her this late in the game, but... Mion, you make me hard to take seriously with that frickin' face. I mean, they're probably going for, like, look at this, man. She's saying all this crazy shit with such an expression on her face like she just does not give a fuck. But seriously, the way she went about said that, it's like, oh yeah, minced her up. That's how she's gonna do it. Jesus fucking Christ. Told you, man. I said it in this recording and I'll say it again. Onikakushi is freaking tame compared to this. I tried to remember when I turned around. Mion's mouth so much so that it was hard to believe, had twisted into a shape infinite in a crescent moon. It was a smile. I could sense it like a jolt of electricity. That person here wasn't my best friend Mion. It wasn't Mion Sonozaki who had been tossed about by her heavy entity, succeeding the Sonozaki family island. Then, who was she? BAM! I saw sparks flying before my eyes, like what happens when we get hit in the back of the head. The strength in my body drained instantly, and my head suddenly became heavy. My knees buckled under the temptation and hit the floor. Then my whole body abruptly collapsed. My face should have hit the floor, but it was comfortable as if I had fallen into a down-filled futon. My consciousness reeled, then receded. It was the kind of sensation like if you took a nap in the car, but you were still half awake and could listen to your parents talking as if they were far away. I'm hamming it up here, aren't I? No, you wouldn't be listening, you would only be hearing it. It was happening so far away, the conversation was completely unrelated to you, so you would have no interest in it. So whether Shion was yelling in my ears or Mion was in vulgar hysterics, I didn't think it annoying, nor did it interest me. Now then, I wonder how I should go about preparing you. Oh yes, what do you think of a pair of nails? I tested on those two little brats, but their hands were too small for a straining table. Let's do that, let's do that! Look at that, man. And the implications. What the flying goddamn fuck, man? Ugh. Mion held me up from behind and dragged me across the floor. I couldn't even make a joke. When you said about the bed and nails, I was gonna make a Bon Jovi joke. But then when I saw that, I was like, no. The soles of my feet scraped Mion held up and dragged me across the floor. The soles of my feet scraped it, and one of my shoes fell off. No! Please stop this! Please stop. Shion's emotions exploded outward and she burst into bitter weeping. As if a crying had whetted Mion's interest, she held, flung me down and returned to the prison cell again. You know, Keiichi, if you hadn't been such a goddamn idiot, you would have caught on to this a lot earlier. You think she was gonna just be like, oh yeah, I'm just gonna borrow Keiichi for a while, just have a talk, 30 minutes. Didn't tip you off that she was actually thinking, I ain't going down without a fight, bitch. I've got a duty to fulfill. And when she said about it, just like, oh, I was just like, I was going to give my sister the worst of the treatment there. And then there's like, oh, what worse could it be than to bring Keiichi into it as well? You didn't catch on, Keiichi. You are a dumbass. You blinded fool. Oh, you sure can cry with a cute voice, can't you? Your natural bravado was making my skin crawl, which definitely suits you the best. Mion, my big sister, I beg you. I don't care how you choose to kill me, but please at least let Keiichi go. I'm begging you. Shion had always acted as though she were a cut above her older sister. Asked Shion in such a miserable voice that I couldn't have imagined it during those peaceful times. Frustrated with herself before the older sister, she used to scoff at and pleaded forgiveness. Mion looked down with an expression of cool indifference, one that was plainly smiling with joy. You know, I wasn't planning on listening to your petty wishes. The way you're crying, though, is just too funny. I think maybe I'll change my mind and listen to you. Since, come to think of it, I never did anything big sister-like for you. Yes, thank you so much. Alright then, let's hear you apologize for everything. Then maybe I'll let it all be water under the bridge. And maybe, just maybe, I'll let Keiichi go. Mion said she might let me go, but she never said anything about letting Shion go. Before long, Shion got on her hands and knees behind the bars and began to speak weak words of apology. They were too faint for me to hear, but their intention got across. Despite having watched her with a magnificently jubilant expression, Mion kicked the bars and declared she was unsatisfied. You think you can make up for years of grudges and hard feelings like that? That just will not do. Guess I'll make mincemeat out of you both! No! Wait, sis! One more chance! Just one more chance! Mion stopped and waved her hand again in resignation. Not because she had grown impatient, but only because she was taking delight in abusing Shion. Again, Keiichi, remember what she said before all this shit went down? You're a fucking idiot! You can't apologize to my satisfaction anyway. I'll teach you how to make an apology that will get through to your old sister. I'm only gonna tell you once, and if you get even a little letter wrong, you're out. Got it. Yes, sis. Okay, still just between them two. Shion's miserable voice cried out, having become utterly hoarse. The sensation tearing through my chest returned a little at a time. I realized that you were fucked. It was feelings of anger bubbling up. I was slowly regaining control of my body. However, I was only able to feel my skin and my blood flowing at the moment. I still couldn't voluntarily move my fingers. Do you memorize it? Then let's hear you say it. Sincerely and faithfully, from begin to end, with all your heart. If you can do it properly, then I'll only kill you. Yes, thank you so much. Something strange. Something had become strange at some point. Are you now thinking that? Well, no, can't even say, oh, he's like, fair enough, he's only following it now. No, he had plenty of time to think that something was amiss. Until just a few moments ago, I was sure this had been Mion, but at some point she had become someone else. The Mion I knew well would never do something so nasty like enjoy trampling all over someone's dignity like this. Wow. Well, even when they do the games, she doesn't go like too harshly. I mean, she does, but it's all in a joking way, you know. Well, to be fair, that's what's going on here in a more morbid way, but she would never go too far with it. Now, let's hear it. Your big sister is listening closely. Shion Sonozaki is... When I ran over to Shion's cell earlier, had the real thing been swapped out with a fake right behind me. Anyway, this couldn't possibly be Mion. Shion Sonozaki is a lowly, worthless stone not fit to even lick her big sister's Mion. And when I think of the countless times I've been rude to my big sister without thinking my place... Yes, that's the spirit. I'll permit you to say a little more now, okay? Blood circulated through my whole body. My numb senses were returning. Just a little more. While Shion is still holding Mion's... No, that thing pretended to be Mion's attention. Hurry up! And if I thought how it had been, and my loyalty to my big sister Mion the rest of my life. So, Mion's burst of laughter echoed through the big cave, growing to a terrifying level. That was not the laugh of someone who was alive in this world. It was none other than the laugh of a demon from the bowels of the earth. She laughed from her stomach until she grew tired of it and stopped smiling suddenly, as if sniping a liar. Alright already. That was funny enough for me. I didn't think you'd throw away that much of your pride. That was plenty enjoyable. Mion began to drag me again after I finally got the feeling in my body back and pulled me towards the torture chamber. Sis! I will make him read. Please, forgive him. Don't worry, alright? I'll be sure to kill you real good after letting you get an earful of Keiichi's screams, that is. No! After dragging me to the torture chamber, she skillfully strapped me into the restraining table. Before I knew it, I was sprawled out, unbound. I forced open my hands, with which I couldn't even make a satisfying fist, and tightly restrained each one of my fingers. She fastened only my hands and my fingers at that, tightly with hinges and locked them in place. Sis! Don't kill him! Sis! Our door was the cave with the jails had been left open, so I could hear Shion's cries of mortification the entire time. Can you hear it, Shion? I'm going to get started now. Please enjoy Keiichi's young screams. Wait, is this Keiichi now finally getting some, of it now? She's like, give it a fucking rest. The feeling in my body returned, and the first action I took was to tear off that thing that looked like Mion.